Hey guys, thank you for tuning into my channel. Much appreciated. But before we get ready for this weekend's predictions for the AFC and NFC championship games, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button for me and also give me a like. Also, leave your comments below. Much appreciated. And we're going to get ready to hopefully give you what every amateur sports bettor is looking for, an edge that's free. I do it for you guys. I've been doing it all season long. Hopefully, you guys have been tuning in and paying attention. But this weekend is going to be a tough one, guys. And as an amateur sports bettor, as well as professional sports bettors out there that would love to tune in and hear what I have to say, this is going to be tough. I have the early lines, and I'm going to tell you right now, all four teams are capable of heading to the Super Bowl. Really, I really found as much as I could finding edges previous games that they played against each other, like the Rams and Seahawks, right? This will be their third meeting, so that's going to be interesting. Then you got the Patriots and the Broncos. How interesting is that game? Because now you have a backup quarterback who hasn't seen the field in 2 years trying to take his team to the Super Bowl, right? So that was an unfortunate injury for the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix breaking his ankle, second to the last play last week's game. But I got to tell you, I was not impressed with Denver either. Despite the fact that they won, I felt that the Buffalo Bills were a much better team. I also felt that the Buffalo, if it wasn't for their turnovers, walk away from that game victorious and probably by a 14-point spread, which is so crazy to think that the number one defense, the Denver Broncos, did not show up. To give up 30 points at home against a really good offense like Buffalo Bills, okay, they did play one of the most talented teams in the league, but there were so many turnovers by Buffalo. And the fact that Josh Allen brought the team back, gave them the go-ahead touchdown with about 4.5 minutes left. And then when Denver scored, Buffalo got the ball back with less than a minute. And Josh Allen drove them down the field to tie the game and send it into overtime. And I got news for you guys, especially Denver Broncos fans. You still couldn't stop Josh Allen. I still believe that was a catch at the end of the game, but that's just me. Okay, if that catch is made, Denver's home right now, and Buffalo's playing in that championship game. So for Denver Broncos fans, you escaped one. I'm not sure you're escaping this one. And let's begin with the AFC Championship game, folks. Right now, I'm moneylining the Patriots. Yes, the Patriots. They are the favorite to win this game only because Bo Nix got hurt. But I think it's a little bit more than that. I'm moneylining the Patriots. I'm going to take the over and under of over 40 and a half. So we're going to go over. I think the Patriots are going to put about 20, 23 points or maybe more against that Denver defense that did not look good this past weekend. And the spread, I'll keep it close. Right now it's at minus 5.5. They got the Patriots as the favorite, but I'm going to take that plus 5.5. I think somehow Denver's going to find a way to keep this game close, but in the end, there'll be some sorry fans at the end of the game. Look, here's what I'm thinking. And this is why I'm trying to help you guys. I put all this edge and everything all together, right? If you saw my preseason whiteboard, the way I do it, I check off boxes, right? I look at the spread and I begin to check off where the edges are at. So we already know that the first edge is Drake May over Jarrett Stidham. Okay, here's a guy who hasn't played in 2 years. But again, it could be a disadvantage too to the Patriots defense. We got no film on this guy. We don't know what to expect. Sean Payton's a genius. He could come up with plays to destroy us, right? A lot of play action might be coming this weekend. Maybe the running game gets going. Maybe RJ Harvey and whoever's in that backfield, McLaughlin, I believe is the running back, Jaleel. Maybe those two guys get that running game going and it's a different ball game. But right now I'm giving this edge to the Patriots. I just think they're well coached, they're well organized, they're well disciplined. They are reminding me a lot of what the Patriots were with Belichick and Tom Brady. Now I'm seeing a little bit of this. Obviously, Mike Vrabel played for those teams, and to come back and coach might be the coach of the year because he has the Patriots right now playing exactly the way the Patriots were doing back in the day. And this football team looks exactly like a Super Bowl team. Kudos to Mike Vrabel, who did have an easy schedule this year. They overshot their expectations, right? Before the season began, I said, Patriots, maybe 8 or 9 wins this year. Guys, they stormed through the season. They beat the teams they were supposed to beat. whoever was in front of them. They even beat the Bills. Okay, they even beat teams that came into their stadium, like the Houston Texans last weekend, where everyone said, "Oh, Drake May's going to struggle." I didn't see it. He put up 28 points. Actually 21 because they did get a touchdown from, I believe, Marcus Jones, right, and an interception return. But still, that's very impressive. And if you saw the game closely, if it wasn't for the turnovers, right, that the Houston Texans forced, Drake May was moving that team consistently throughout the game. They were coming down the field. And I do see this type of matchup this weekend. If you could do that to the Texans, you could definitely do that to the vulnerable Denver Broncos defense. A very good defense, but they did not show up last week, guys. And Denver fans, I know you're going to hate me, but do you feel confident with Jarrett Stidham as your quarterback? I certainly don't. And as a betting man, I mean, it might look good taking the underdog, right? They're the home team. What do I always say? The home team gets a 3 points home field advantage, right? And then you begin to break down the edges. Like I said, the first edge is already at quarterback with Drake May. MVP year, you have to roll with the Patriots on this. Now, can Jarrett Stidham lead the Broncos to the Super Bowl? It's possible. We saw in the past the 2000 Ravens, great defense, Trent Dilfer at quarterback. We saw the 1990 Giants, Jeff Hostetler, the backup to Phil Simms, win a Super Bowl, okay, with their defense. Okay, so it is possible, guys. I'm not saying that Jarrett Stidham's is a bad quarterback. He hasn't taken the field in 2 years, guys. All right, in Hostetler's case, he did play several games leading up to that season. And before he even got to the Super Bowl, he played, I think, from, I don't know, what was it, the 12th week on all the way. So he had the experience going into the playoffs, even years before that, too. He was always Phil Simms' backup and always got chances to play. In Trent Dilfer's case, he took over the reins after, 6 weeks in Baltimore and carried that team. And he had experience from playing with Tampa Bay. Jarrett Stidham, I don't see any experience. This is going to be probably Sean Payton's finest hour in getting his quarterback prepared. Even if he gets a great game out of Jarrett Stidham, I did not like what I saw out of the Denver defense. And this is one of the reasons I'm going to moneyline the Patriots. I think the Patriots defense got better as the year went on. You could see it. You could see the confidence. They have Christian Gonzalez at one corner. And you got Carlton Davis. I don't know if he should be available. He did suffer an injury, but I think he's available. You got Carlton Davis on another corner. And for a backup quarterback, and you try to throw that ball against those two guys, wow, that's a chance you're taking with a backup quarterback. The running game from Denver is going to have to step up. They did have an injury on an offensive line with McGovern. I don't know if he's going to be available. He did suffer that injury, went out a few plays. I don't know how healthy he is. But that running game against that New England defense, and they're very stout up front, right? Milton Williams and guys like that, Barmore. These guys this is going to be a tough opponent to run against. I'm really, really leaning on the Patriots. If I was a betting man, I'm money lining the Patriots to win. I'm going to take that plus 5.5. Even though it's really shocking to see the Denver Broncos as the underdog at home, but it's only because Bo Nix is there. And I'm going to be honest with you, even if Bo Nix was in there at quarterback, he did come off last weekend's game. I saw a little bit better play by him. But if you remember throughout the season, he was very inconsistent with the football going deep and stuff like that. It did take a pass interference to get Denver closer to the goal line, and they were able to kick that field goal for the win. Even with Bo Nix, I wasn't confident with this game with the Denver Broncos. I know everything is Denver, Denver, Denver. If Sean Payton wins, congratulations if he wins. That would be an incredible achievement. To get the job done with a backup. But wow, that's asking a lot. I'm a betting guy. I'm going to take the Patriots in this. I look at all the edges. The pass rushers for the Denver Broncos, I believe Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, they might be more in the package of helping their tackles with pass protection. Maybe every now and then you sneak out Hunter Henry or Austin Hooper, hit them down the middle. I think that's where the Denver Broncos linebackers are going to have to come up with their best game. They're going to have to prevent anything coming across. You're looking at Stephon Diggs on slant patterns, trying to get away from Patrick Surtain, who did also suffer an injury last weekend, but did come back to play. Don't know his health yet, especially the shoulder. All right, so you might have Mac Hollins playing a key role in this game, right? These unknown receivers that are making plays like Kayshon Boutte. That, when you got guys that could, other than Stephon Diggs, make plays, that makes you a very deadly football team. And Drake May has a plethora of guys like that, from Kyle Williams, Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins. Okay, other than Stephon Diggs, this is a fantastic team with talent all around. I'm not saying that Denver cannot match that, because Denver has talent themselves. They got wide receivers. They have wide receivers. You got Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, Little Jordan Humphrey, Cortland Sutton, okay, Pat Bryant. But now you have a problem at quarterback, Jarrett Stidham. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, right? Spelled Stidham. I believe that's the way it's spelled. But inexperience, 2 years on the bench behind Bo Nix. How well prepared is he? In the history of the NFL, we've seen backup quarterbacks come in, do well, but we've also seen backup quarterbacks come in for a few plays, get hurt, and then they're out the game and you're back down to your third string. It's going to take pulling a rabbit out of a hat for Denver to win this one. But that defense is Super Bowl ready. What they showed last weekend, let's face it, guys, the Buffalo Bills should be in this game, not the Denver Broncos, because Buffalo went up and down the field against that defense. And if it wasn't for the turnovers, Buffalo wins that game by 14 points. Okay, I'm going to now pause the tape, show you on a whiteboard why I'm going to take the Patriots. Just write it down, whatever. Hope this helps. Okay, guys, there you saw the whiteboard for the AFC Championship game. Now let's head over to the NFC Championship game. And guys, this is going to be a really good matchup between two teams that are from the same division, and it's a rivalry. If you saw what the Seattle Seahawks did to the depleted 49ers team, that's exactly the way it was going to play out. And finally, to Kyle Shanahan, congratulations on getting your team this far with all the injuries you had and the offseason that you had where you lost key players through free agency. Look, that game went exactly the way I was expecting it. I really was expecting that blowout. In fact, I didn't even expect the 49ers to be in the playoffs at all. Right before the season, I said they were like a 6-11 football team. And I stand correct. I know they got into the playoffs, an incredible coaching job by Kyle Shanahan as well as his assistants. But let's be realistic. I didn't see this team going any further than what they did. And that's why I said congratulations to Kyle Shanahan. He's up for Coach of the Year, and he did a fantastic job. But the game played out exactly what I expected. It should have been a blowout. 41-6, I believe that was the final score. It should have been a blowout, and that's exactly what happened. But this weekend's game is going to play out a little bit different. Seattle has a fantastic defense. I think they're the best one of all the four teams in championship weekend. I believe this team, this defense, should be able to get them to the Super Bowl. But yet again, we're going to, check off the boxes with the edges, right? Now, Seattle is coming into this game with a lot of edges. And the first edge I want to talk about is that quarterback position. Okay? I know there's a lot of people that don't like Sam Darnold, I included. He's really a game manager, and that's all he should be for this game. If he tries to overdo anything, and when I mean overdo anything, I mean coming out and trying to play fast-paced football against the Rams, or even trying to throw more than run, I don't think Seattle will win this game. I think the key to victory for the Seattle Seahawks this weekend is going to have to be run the football with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. I don't know if Zach Charbonnet will be available. He sustained a serious injury during the game against the 49ers, and I'm not sure if he's coming back. They do have tight ends, A.J. Varner, who can be a real serious threat down the middle, along with Jake Bobo. Wide receiver, JSN, Jackson Smith, Nick Jigba, right? Cooper Kupp. Okay, they got weapons. They got weapons to hang in there with the Rams. In the previous meetings, the Rams took care of business in the first one, right? 21-16. All right. And then they had that game won in Seattle just a month ago. And unfortunately, because they weren't paying attention, that 2-point conversion that they got put them into overtime. The whole thing, we had a Rashid Shaheed punt return in which he did it again with the 49ers, had that punt return that started the game off and really took the heart out of the Niners. And then in that game against the Rams a month ago, he did the same thing. I mean, the Rams were in complete control of that game. And then the minute that punt return happened, it kind of changed the dynamics of that game. And this is where I look at that and I say, wow, there was clear domination by the Rams for 3 quarters. Really, it was. They put up 30 against that Seattle defense. And this is probably tough for a lot of sports bettors out there, right? Because right now, as it stands, the Rams are the underdogs and they're favoring the Seahawks to cover by 2.5. Sounds about right, right? You could go either way with the Rams and Seahawks, but I'm sorry. After seeing the way the Rams clearly have been the better team in both those games, I'm going with the Rams. I'm moneylining it. I'm going with the over, obviously, of 46.5, because I just think the Seahawks have to find a way to keep up with that explosive Rams offense, right? And then that spread of plus 2.5, right, for the underdogs. And this is my underdog upset special. So I began with that edge with, the quarterback position. Obviously, you're going to roll with the guy that's done it before, Matthew Stafford. I believe he'll get it done again. I think Matthew Stafford, what he did up in Chicago, was incredible with all the elements. Everything was against him, even going into overtime, right? Even despite the fact that the Bears were relentless in their pursuit of blitzing and all of that, that's what Seattle's going to bring. And Matthew Stafford can beat you in so many different ways. Why? Look at the weapons, the plethora, if I said that correctly, of weapons. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, who I think is going to play a big game this weekend. You got Kobe Parkinson, Terrence Ferguson. I don't know if Tyler Higbee will be available. Okay, you got Kyren Williams, Blake Corum. Guys, you're talking about an offense that could put points up against the best defense in the league, the Seattle Seahawks. And if you saw any of those games this past season, Seattle fans did not want to see this team again, especially when they went up to Seattle a month ago and put up 30. What a game that was. Actually, I think they put up 37 points, if I'm correct, right? I think they lost by 1 point that day, 38-37, I believe was the final score. So the fact that you could still put 30 to 37 points against that fine unit of Seattle. Now, Seattle has a relentless defense, okay? They got some good players, great players on that defense, but they could be had. And the guy that gets them all the time is Matthew Stafford. Sam Darnold, all the pressure is going to be on him. Seattle went out of their way a year ago to get Sam Darnold as their quarterback. Who did he lose to last season in the playoffs? You guessed it, the Los Angeles Rams. And I really do see this happening again. This could be a close game, maybe another overtime game, maybe a game that is going to come down to a field goal. Both kickers are good. All right. Obviously, we have an edge on special teams with the Seahawks because Rashid Shaheed. I always say Rashid, but it's Rashid Shaheed. Say that 10 times very quickly. But he's a fantastic punt returner. I do see an edge on that. Special teams, yeah, I see an edge on that. He did it against the Rams, and he was dangerous last weekend against the Niners, was really the big difference there. I really believe that they have an edge on special teams and defense. And with that said, you might think I'm going to roll with the Seahawks. It's just a quarterback position. Now, for the Seahawks to win, I told you what the key is. Run the football. I don't know the health of Zach Charbonnet, but with Kenneth Walker, you got to give these guys 40 plus carries or 40 touches. I'm talking 20 each if they're available. Because if you're going to expect Sam Darnold to take you to the promised land, that's going to be a bad thing. Sam Darnold's always good for 1 or 2 interceptions a game. And I think those interceptions that might happen this weekend are going to come at the worst time. I think the Rams know him too well. I think Chris Shula and his defense and Sean McVay's offense will be a bit too much for Seattle. I think they tighten up that special teams unit a little bit better, maybe kick away from Shaheed, maybe kick most of these balls into the end zone. Whatever it takes to prevent Shaheed from returning that football could be the key. I do see that offensive line for the Rams struggling. But when you got guys like Kyren Williams and Blake Corum, you just got to keep and stick with it. Stick with the running game to offset. Okay? That unit for Seattle is going to be hard to penetrate. But the Rams have done it before. They played up there with a hostile crowd. That 12th man is an advantage. But the Rams went up there and put up 37. They had that game won, guys. Let's be real. Let's call it for what it is. That game was won by the Rams. They beat them in the first game, and they had them in the second game. The Seahawks have been playing better. They managed to squeak. Listen, did they depend on Darnold to win that game? Sure. Did he throw that bullet into the end zone to beat them? Absolutely. Sam Darnold was on money towards the end of that game. He was just hitting everything. But to expect that type of performance again against the Rams defense, who really, other than that Caleb Williams, Hail Mary, this is, I say Hail Mary, but realistically, that was, wow. I couldn't believe that throw by Caleb Williams. But I just don't see the Rams making too many mistakes in this game. However, if they do, they could overcome them. They did it against the Bears, okay? They overcame a lot of bad plays and decisions by Matt Stafford, right turnovers, and they still managed to pull victory on the road in frozen temperatures in Chicago. They're all going to travel to Seattle. It might be bad weather, but they have a great chance. And when you look at the weapons against that Seattle defense, listen, when you have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, I think that's a problem. The 49ers did not even come close to matching the offense that the Rams have. I mean, they had no George Kittle. All right. Jawan Jennings is really not that star-studded receiver everyone thinks he is. Where was Kendrick Bourne? Guy went non-existent for the rest of the year after having a big game against the Rams, 3 months ago? I think he had a 200-yard game, then disappeared. So realistically, when you look at the 49ers and that offense, they never had a chance. Other than Christian McCaffrey, which Seattle did a great job of shutting him down, they really had nothing against the Seahawks. Here comes a team with a lot. Kyren Williams, Blake Corum. You got Matthew Stafford, a Super Bowl veteran winning quarterback. You got wide receivers like Puka, Devontae, Ferguson, Kobe Parkinson. I believe the Rams win this game. I'm going to take the Rams in the upset special of the weekend. I'm money lining it. I'm taking you over 46.5. There will be points. I'm taking that spread plus 2.5, obviously, because the Rams are the underdog. I believe it'll be the Rams and the Patriots in the Super Bowl, a rematch. I also think the Rams are the Super Bowl favorite. They were. Listen, before the season began, the Rams were always the Super Bowl favorite. And I think they're living up to it. At midseason, there was actually a time during the midseason of this season where everybody said the Rams are the Super Bowl team. The Rams were the pick to win it all. And you know what? They're playing like it. They certainly have proved it. They had to go on the road. They made it tougher for themselves, but they're here. That they're one game away from the Super Bowl. And if they get there, I believe they're going to be the Super Bowl champion. If I'm wrong, fine. But guys, I know Seattle has a great defense, but can you trust Sam Darnold? Listen, if there's one thing about this game, if there's one edge that puts the Rams above everything else in that game, it's the experience of Matt Stafford, who's a gunslinger. He overcomes his mistakes. He knows who his playmakers are. Okay, he's beaten the Seahawks. Okay, this guy is the kryptonite to the Seahawks defense. I know the Seahawks have a fine defense. They have a Super Bowl ready defense, but they don't have the Super Bowl quarterback. Can I eat my words? Absolutely. Can Sam Darnold prove me wrong? Absolutely. Do I believe in that? No. So, guys, be smart with your money this weekend. I'm going to pause this tape and I'm going to put the whiteboard up, copy it down, whatever. Run to your local casino and sportsbook or go on your sports app. Okay? So let me pause and I'm going to show you my whiteboard. Okay, guys, there you see it. That's my upset special for this weekend. Hopefully, you guys can roll with me this weekend. Place your bet smartly. Bet small to win big. If you want to bet big to win big, that's up to you guys. I always tell you that I give this edge for free. I try to help you guys make some money out there. Okay, and hopefully, you guys will. Hopefully, you guys have been having a successful season. Now, with that said, if you had to look for touchdown makers this weekend, always look for the key guys, as always, right? For the Patriots, you're going to get guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry, maybe a surprise of Kayshon Boutte again, maybe Demario Douglas, and maybe Austin Hooper, right? Maybe a rushing touchdown by Drake May this year. They'll be on the plus side of things, and that could really up your parlay if you choose to do so. In building your parlay, right? So when you look at the Broncos, you might want to stick with RJ Harvey and maybe just somebody outside of the starting unit to score, like a Tyler Batty, a guy like that. Yeah, that's going to be tough with a backup quarterback, right? You just don't know what to expect, who's going to score. But the sure thing to me would be a RJ Harvey touchdown or something. Okay, player props. I see Drake May maybe throwing over 225 yards, maybe a touchdown or two. Okay, Jarrett Stidham, I would stick with maybe over 150 yards passing. I think it's going to be a rush-heavy offense for the Broncos. I think Drake May will be throwing that ball out around, finding the open spots in that championship game. So those would be my player props. Maybe go with Hunter Henry, like over 5 catches, maybe 60 yards this weekend, right, against that tough Denver defense, right? Because you are going to be throwing balls down the middle, staying away from guys like Patrick Surtain and McMillan, right? Maybe on the Denver side, as a player prop, you may want to take RJ Harvey for a touchdown and RJ Harvey for over 40 yards rushing. If you look at alternate rushing and receiving yards, you may want to take RJ Harvey for 60 plus. Really not much to say about that offense. Let's move on to the NFC Championship props, right? The Rams, like I said, Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, Puka, Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kobe Parkinson, Terrence Ferguson are all up for touchdowns. Player props, look for, Puka had a game against Seattle the last time, but I think Devontae Adams is going to be the guy. I think if I had to take a chance on a player prop, it's going to be Devontae Adams, maybe 5 catches and 70-plus yards, right? Maybe a touchdown there too. I think the dark horse would be a guy like Kyren Williams, alternate receiving and rushing yards, maybe 70-plus, right? Maybe a touchdown from him. Puka might get all the attention, but I still think he's good for 4 to 5 catches and maybe. And I'm gonna be a little bit below his normal yardage. Normally, this guy's a 80 plus almost every weekend. I might go with 70 plus with him just to be on the safe side with those props. Passing wise, I think Matthew Stafford could give me 250 plus yards, maybe 2 touchdowns in his game. He is capable of that. So maybe look for that. Look for the over 250 plus yards. I know people are going to say, nah, that's a bit too much. He's playing against a tight defense like Seattle. But just look at his stats against Seattle the past 2 games. I mean, the guy's been money. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry there, folks. My throat was a bit dry. But anyway, those would be like my player props and touchdown makers for the Rams. Player props from the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is a game that the coaching staff of Seattle may try to trip up the Rams by having Sam Darnold throw a lot. I think that'll be a mistake. I think they should stick to the ground with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, but something tells me coaches sometimes overthink too much and they put too much on one person and end up losing a game. I'm looking for Sam Darnold to probably throw for 225 plus yards, go with the over, maybe a touchdown statistically. Look for JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba, to have a big game. I think he's going to have to really have a big game if Seattle's going to win this game. Like I said, if you got to depend on Sam Darnold, I don't think you're winning this game. But if he's going to throw the ball around, he's got to get this guy going. Jackson Smith is the biggest threat they have right now on offense. And if he definitely could get the yardage. Okay? If I could put a player prop on him, I would take him at 7 plus catches, maybe over 100 yards. I really think JSN is going to step up in this game, maybe get a touchdown too. But if they decide to run, this is why you have to pay attention. If you think the Seattle Seahawks are going to game manage this for Sam Darnold and go to the run, don't know the health of Zach Charbonnet. But if Charbonnet plays, don't know how much of an effect he's going to have with that injury. Maybe he's out for the game. I don't know. But if you got to depend on Kenneth Walker, I think you could take Kenneth Walker for plus 50 yards, alternate receiving and rushing, like for 50 plus yards and 1 touchdown. That's a safe bet. AJ Barner for 40 plus yards, 3 catches maybe. Could be a touchdown in there, right? If Zach Charbonnet plays, he's always the big gun of the 2 running backs. He's the guy that gets in the end zone. But I don't know what his status is. Maybe stay away from that player prop, because what if he's a game time decision and you was putting these player props together or parlaying it? This could be a bad decision on your part. So be careful with that. But other than that, guys, these 4 teams all are capable of getting to the big dance. Like I said, the 2 key elements is the backup situation for Denver with Jarrett Stidham, and also the game managing of Sam Darnold for this upcoming championship game. What we do know is that the disciplined, well-organized, well-coached team of the New England Patriots are definitely a money line pick for me. And the experience, veteran experience, and Super Bowl experience of Matthew Stafford over Sam Darnold is the edge I'm going to take over that tough defensive football team of the Seattle Seahawks. And let me tell you something, the Rams can play tough defense too. Okay, Jared Verse is a fantastic football player. They do have guys that can get to the quarterback too. Okay, so that's where I'm at with this championship weekend. Guys, I hope you really took this edge to heart, because I give it to you free, right? Bet small and win big, guys. I hope this was helpful. I really do. I gave you this edge for free. I gave you the early lines, what's going on. Guys, pay attention, because I think the spread as well as the over and unders are going to be changing towards championship before the game even begins. Maybe up to 10 minutes before the game, these point spreads might play out differently. That Rams minus 2.5 could go down to minus 1.5 by game day, or maybe pick them, right? If you look in the past and you see the way the Rams offensively played against that defense, you might be leaning my way with picking the Rams as your money line. With that New England game, I feel like that New England's favored, but that point spread is way too high, -5.5. I mean, I understand as a backup quarterback, but yet again, how is the Denver defense going to play? And then there's a reason why that point spread is high. Guys, look, pay attention to how Denver's been playing this past weekend against Buffalo. That defense did not show up. 30 points? 30 points against a talented Buffalo Bills offense. And if it wasn't for Buffalo's mismanagement of turnovers, right? I don't know why I said mismanagement, but they turned the ball over right before the half and gave the Broncos 3 points. And then there was some turnovers where they were heading down the field goal position, and and ended up turning the ball over. Denver did not look good, so look for the Patriots here. Money line them, right? Take that spread of -5.5, but take it as a +5. And I think Denver will try to force some turnovers and hang in there. I just think New England, the Rams, they're on their way to the Super Bowl. At least that's what I'm doing. I don't know what you guys are doing. I did give you this edge for free. Listen to the words I was telling you throughout this video. It might help you and maybe you want to go two different ways, right? Maybe you want to take the Rams, Patriots, and then the other one, the Broncos and Rams, or the Broncos and Seahawks, or whatnot. You got to pick what's best. I'm giving you this edge for free, guys. And I told you already how I feel about this game. Hopefully it works out for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Yet again, hit that like and subscribe button for me. Give me a like and leave your comments below. And good luck this weekend. Bet small and win big. That's always been my motto. Guys, have fun. Enjoy this weekend. And I'll see you next time as we predict and start getting ready for that Super Bowl. All right, guys, enjoy and see you next time for our Super Bowl predictions. Thank you for tuning in.